Let us begin our webinar by first looking at the training schedule spread across 4 weeks, where week 1, 2, and 3 have already been covered, and today we are here at week 4 of the schedule. So let's take a quick recap of what we have seen so far. So in week 1, we started our training series by showing Bob and Susan how to discover various application components using application discovery and create dependency map. Then how to logically group discovered application into monitor groups, and also took a look at various performance metrics collected for popular application components. In week 2, we primarily focused on how you can monitor websites, web server, and services, and then monitoring the end user experience using real browser monitor as well as website content monitoring. In week 3, we focused on how Application Manager can be used to find performance bottleneck in your application and optimize it using APM Insight Agent and Java Runtime Monitor. With this information, we will be seeing various key admin features available in Applications Manager. And in today's agenda, we will focus how to troubleshoot performance problems, and based on the alert raised, how one can take necessary action using corrective methods and notify respective teams. Then we will see how to generate several reports and build meaningful dashboard. Type of user role which can be assigned to discrete team to perform certain tasks of their own. At the end, we will see various admin activities that can be performed in Applications Manager. With this, let's jump into our first topic of our agenda, which is to identify and troubleshoot performance problems. Applications Manager helps IT admins by providing performance view of the application that are being monitored. For example, under bulk configuration view, you can find the performance tab where the hourly health information of the monitors are present. Not only that, if you click on one of the hourly data, you will be able to find the reason why the monitor was in critical state, along with other attributes that are being monitored. Let me switch to the UI and show you where to find this information. So this is the Application Manager category view page. Let me click on the Windows under Servers category. And we have 3 tabs: Availability, Performance, and List View. Let me click on the Performance tab. Here we show the various attributes, and if I scroll down, we'll show the health history of the various monitors that are being added in Applications Manager. You can either choose last 24 hours or you can choose last 30 days. Let me click on one of the monitors, health, and we will see health alarm history for that monitor. And if I scroll down, I can see the various attributes, the minimum, maximum, and average value. Not only this, if I scroll up and see the graph for the physical memory utilization, and if I click on this, we will get the heat chart. So this report is largely useful to compare performance of similar type of monitors. And the edit button, which is available in this screen, will facilitate the user to view the heat chart in any other threshold definition on the fly. So you can change the threshold profile and see how the chart is getting plotted, and based on that you can decide on the possible threshold that can be associated for this attribute. Let me close this window and switch back to the presentation. Now that we have seen how IT admins can decide a viable threshold for an attribute that need to be monitored, we will now see various available action and its usage. How to create action, threshold, and associate them to an attribute. Based on the nature of the action, we have categorized them as corrective and notification actions. So under corrective action, which are specific to certain monitor types. Say for example, you have added Java Runtime Monitor, and for that Java Runtime Monitor, you need to trigger a heap dump in order to identify the issue that has been raised in that particular application. For this, you can make use of Java heap dump action. Or in case if you have a script that you need to execute in the remote machine, you can make use of execute corrective action. Or in case if you want to restart a Windows service, you can make use of Windows service action. Let's take another example. Let's say there is an alert where the virtual machine is down and you need to restart it. You can make use of this virtual machine action. The next category is notification action, where one can notify a team about a problem by sending message via email or SMS. You can send alert to the help desk tool to log a ticket, and in Applications Manager, we have an option where you can send the SNMP trap, or you can listen to SNMP trap generated from your SNMP enabled devices. So now let me switch to the UI and show you how to create an action. And I'm going to take email action as an example. So the first prerequisite is to configure the SMTP server. For this, click on the admin tab. Under product settings, click on connectivity. And you will find the mail server, proxy server, and SMS server. So under SMS server, if you have a physical modem, once connected to the machine, it will automatically list it out here, and via modem you can send an SMS. Otherwise, if you have an email gateway which is provided by your ISP, you can also use that. So once the mail server is configured successfully, the next step is to create the action. For that, let me click on the actions menu and click email action. You can provide the display name and from address and to address. And that's it. You need to create the action. Once this is done, the action will get created. And in case if you want to test that action, you can click on this execute button and you will receive a notification in your email. So let me pull out an email message that I've received. So once I've executed, this is how the email message will look like. So which means that the SMTP server and the email action is working fine. Now the next step would be to associate that to a monitor. Before that, you might be wondering what is this used by means. It means the number of monitors which are using this action, and if I click on this number, it will pull out the information about the monitor name. And in case if you want to remove it, you can go ahead and click on this X mark to remove it. Or if you want to create a CSV file for reporting purpose, you can also download it. Let me close this window and switch to the presentation. In order to make sure that Application Manager provides you necessary alert, threshold has to be configured. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me switch back to the product. And for this, let me click on the threshold profile. View threshold profile, which will list out the available threshold that you have created. And let's click on the add new. So here we have threshold profile for numeric, string, and float, where float being for APM Insight module. So let me select the numeric value, and I'm going to create for CPU utilization. And let me click on the show advanced option, where it shows the various other severity. So we have critical, warning, and clear. Let's say that this is a threshold for percentage. So I'm going to give greater than 90 to be critical if the CPU reaches the value greater than 90. And say warning for greater than or equal to 85 and clear less than 85. Once this is done, we can click on create threshold. So again, you must be wondering what is this used by column. Just like the action that we saw, it will pull out the report, the monitor, and the attribute that is using this threshold. Let me close this window. And again, on the right top, you can see another report, which is threshold and action profile CSV. This report will be helpful for you to find out the monitors that has the threshold and actions associated, or monitors which do not have threshold and action associated. Let me close this window. And let me switch back to the presentation. So once the threshold and action is configured, the next question would be how to associate them in the monitor, and if so, how to associate them in bulk. Let me, like we have the configure alarm templates where one can associate threshold to an individual monitor or to monitor type or to groups. Let me show you how to go about and do this. Let me switch to the product again. Click on configure alarms. So under monitor, you can associate the threshold and action for individual monitor, right? But in case if you have the n number of monitors for which you need to associate the same threshold and profile, then we can either go with monitor type or monitor group. So first, let me click on the monitor type, select a sample monitor, say URL monitor here, and for, let's say, the page size percentage, I'm going to associate a threshold, right? So for this, let me click on associate, select the threshold of my choice, and select configure action at attribute level, and select the email or any other action that you want to associate. I'm associating here for critical alone. In case if you want to get an alert for warning and clear severity, you can associate them. And even you can associate more than one action for this particular attribute. Now, once I click on save, you can see that, let me close this window, that the threshold profile for page size percentage has been applied. And in case if you're adding a new URL monitor, this threshold will get automatically applied. Now down the line, say you have hundreds of URL monitor and there is a need where you need to change the threshold value. For this, what you can do is, let me take the response time as an example. Let me click on it and say you want to change the threshold and add additional action to the monitor. For this, what I can do is I can select the attribute, or in case if you have if you only have one threshold and if you want to edit it, you can also click on this edit button to change the value. Now you can select the respective action that you need. All right. And you need to select the override existing option, which means the existing URL monitor that you have will be applied with this threshold that we are selecting now. And once we click on save, the threshold will get overwritten and the new threshold profile and actions that you have associated will be available. All right. In case if you want to remove a threshold profile, you can click again and scroll down, click on delete and deassociate template configuration. So once this is done for all the monitor, wherever this threshold is applied, and action that has been applied will get removed. So let me close this window. Just like monitor type, monitor group template will work, but it is pertaining to that group alone for which we are creating the template. So if you are going to move a URL monitor to a monitor group, then the template that has been created for the monitor group will get applied for that URL monitor. Now let me switch back to the presentation. So now the next topic is defining alarm rules. So by configuring the alarm rules, you can specify how the health or availability depends on the group constituent that are present in the monitor group. For example, using alarm rules, you can say health of a monitor group is critical if the health of the any two monitor in the monitor group is critical, or availability of the monitor group is critical if health of any one of the monitor is critical. So once this has been configured, let me pull out an email message that I've received. So this is a sample email message that I've received after applying the action and threshold. So this will give you meaningful information like what is the monitor, the attribute, and the root cause message, why that particular monitor is down. Let me close this window. And The next topic that I want to discuss is how to prevent false alarm, because there are chances of getting false alarm due to network issues. And in order to control it, we have options like consecutive pole count, because the critical warning and clear alarms are generated based on attributes that you have configured. And you have control over the alarms that are being generated. So by simply specifying the number of times after which the alarm should actually be generated, it would suppress the false alarm. The another option, like when application manager is out of network or is not connected to the network, the status of all the monitors will be shown as down. In order to avoid this, you can enable the option check for network availability. Similarly, when the application manager is out of network or if external proxy settings are not configured, the status of all the URL monitor will be shown as down. For this, you can enable the option check for URL availability. Dependent device, where you can configure a dependent device in such a manner that if the availability of the dependent device is down, the concerned monitor or monitor group's availability will be down. You can also configure the dependent device for a monitor group or individual monitor to suppress false downtime alarm caused by the dependent device being down. Now, reports, which is an important aspect of all management tasks, is to analyze the trend over time and evaluate the performance and dashboard. And dashboard is an easy way to put together business critical application and view the performance and alerts at one place. So this report can be pulled from Applications Manager to see the raw data collected for every pole for a specific attribute. One can also compare the attribute reports of various monitors within a particular monitor group or monitor type. Not only that, we show history report, which provides the detailed historical of the particular attribute of a monitor, hour of day report, which is to generate hour average, and day of week report to generate average of a day for a particular period of time for the particular attribute that you want to pull. Statistical report represents the standard deviation of an attribute over a period of time and heat chart. Let me switch to the UI and pull out certain reports and show you how it looks like. So let me click on the reports tab. Let me click on trend analysis. From the drop down, let me select the monitor. And once I select the monitor, the respective attribute will be listed. Say for example, I want to pull out the CPU usage in percentage. So this pull out the last 7 days, and if I want to check the show poll data report, I can select from the drop down, which is available on the left top corner, and it will show the raw data collected for every poll for this monitor. Let me close this and click on servers on the left hand side. And I've selected the server as all. Maybe you can select for Windows, Linux, or the type for which you want to pull the report. So say for instance, I've selected all and clicked on CPU usage of servers. When I do so, I can see the top 10 monitors and how the CPU utilization is performing. In case if you want to change the time period, you can click on the drop down menu and choose the time period of your choice. Or if you need a custom period, you can also select the from and to date and pull out the report. Not only that, you can select any two monitor and click on the compare report here to check the difference between these two monitors. So let me select another report and click on compare. Okay, here the data is not available, so let me select another monitor and click on compare. So what exactly happens here is the difference between these two monitors for CPU utilization attribute will be listed out. And when you click on the last 7-bar report, it will pull out the historical report along with the hour of day report, day of week report, and statistical report. Under the history report, we also show the 95th percentile information. Now let me close this window and switch back to the presentation. The next report type is the capacity planning, which helps IT enterprise balance hardware cost with computing needs The major objective of effective capacity management is to make efficient use of existing capacity and minimize wastage of computing resources. You can set a utilization threshold which can be configured for a specific metric like CPU or memory, where oversized if a machine uses resources less than this threshold, or undersized if a machine uses more than this threshold that you apply. The next report which most of our customers like is the forecast report. So forecasting helps IT enterprise to predict future disk utilization based on current utilization trend and balance hardware cost with computing needs. The major objective of effective forecasting are staying informed about current disk usage trends, plan future disk utilization requirement based on forecast report. We also show the forecast by growth trend and forecast by utilization, where forecast by growth trend generate report based on current utilization statistics and predicts the growth in utilization in the future based on the present statistics. Similar to growth trend, forecast by utilization generate report based on current utilization statistics, but it also notifies when the utilization level reaches an extreme high, say 80 to 90% or 90 to 100%, allowing to take appropriate action. This report is generated only for attribute measured in percentage scale. The next question that you might be thinking is whether the reports that we have seen so far can be scheduled or not. Yes, Application Manager generates many reports that help you to analyze the performance over a period of time. So using this option, you can schedule the time at which the reports need to be generated. Let me switch to the UI and show you that. So again, under Reports tab, if I scroll down, I have the capacity planning report, which shows the undersized, oversized ideal servers for VMware ESX, physical server, Hyper-V, and virtual machines. Say for instance, I'm clicking on the undersized server under VMware ESX. It shows the detailed information about how the ESX host is performing, the CPU utilization and the memory utilization information. Let me close this window, scroll down and click on Forecast Report on the left-hand side. And I can click on the disk utilization of the server. Apart from this, we have other monitor type for which you can pull the forecasting report. Let me click on the disk utilization forecast report. So here it shows the trend analysis based on 1 month. And in case if you want to predict what will happen, say in another 6 months or 5 months, you can click on this time period and it will chart out the forecasting report. Let me close this window. And on the right top, you can find an option how to schedule the report. For this, you need to click on this option, Schedule Reports. Click New Schedule Report. And under report type, you need to select what information that you need, whether you need the availability or information about an attribute, or you need a forecast report to be scheduled. You can select the report type and the period that you want, whether it's today or historical report. You can select the time period. Based on the report type that you have selected, you can generate report for monitor type or monitor group or individual monitor. And you can select the recurrence detail, whether it's going to be daily, weekly, or monthly. Select the time at which the report has to be generated and the report type, whether it's going to be PDF or CSV format. So once you select and click on Save, the report type that you have selected, if it is PDF, you will receive the report in PDF format in your email. Now let me switch back to the presentation. The next topic is the business hour, which is a predetermined set of hour which helps you to view reports for the particular hour during the day instead of viewing the data for the entire 24 hours period. So it helps you to identify critical issue which may have raised during the business hour for a particular application or resources. The next interesting topic is the dashboard. So Application Manager provides various dashboard, and you can create your own customized dashboard with the available widgets. So let me go ahead and switch back to the UI, and let me click on the Home tab. Under Home tab, you can find the default dashboard, business view, availability, and you can click on the More, click New Dashboard here to create the dashboard of your own. Now, when I click on it, you can provide the name and select the widget of your choice that are available. So under Performance widget, you can select the attribute for a specific monitor or multiple monitors. Under Availability and Health widgets, you can select the status of various monitors and its availability and health information. Last alarms, which is the recent alarms that has been generated in Applications Manager, and Monitor Group widgets, where it shows the availability and health status of the configured monitor group. And utility widget, say for example, embed web page. You have a URL which you want to embed in the Application Manager dashboard. You can make use of this utility widget. So when I click on Create, the dashboard will automatically get created. So by default, the monitor group and last N alarm widget will automatically fill out the information here. Let me take an example of current availability and health status of multiple monitors. Let me click on the Edit button, which is available, and it will pop up a window where we can select the monitor type for which we want to see the availability and health status. Say for instance, I'm going to select Windows Server, and I have an option whether all monitors of Windows type I need the availability and health status, or from monitor group, or you can select individual server of your choice. So I'm going to leave it as all monitor and click on Save Configuration. So this will show the Windows Server, the availability and health status. Similarly, Performance Metric widget, let me edit it, and let me select multiple monitors here. So it is showing like whether you can select single or multiple monitors. Let me select multiple monitors here and select the type. Say for example, HTTP URL monitor. I can select the monitor for which I need the performance metric widget. So I'm going to select to URL monitor, and the attribute is the response time. And I want to pull the raw data, that is show poll data. Let me click on the Save Configuration. Once this is done, the graph along with the monitor and the attribute value will be listed out here. Not only this, you can publish this dashboard. For this, click on the Actions on the right top, Publish Dashboard, and there will be a JavaScript code snippet which you can use in your intranet web portal, or otherwise you can share this URL link available within the double quote that is under source and pass on to your team member. Let me open up the incognito window and access this URL that I've copied. So when I hit enter, you will see the view only information about the dashboard that you have created and published. Now, in case if the team members wants to see the detail of it, they need to log in. All right, so it's just a view only mode. So when I click on it, it will ask us to log into the product, right? So let me go ahead and close this window and switch back to the presentation. The next topic is the user management. So in any IT organization, typically we'll have multiple teams handling specific or multiple tasks, and they might need to have a holistic view of monitoring components which are specific to the team. For this, we have different user roles which can be associated based on business service need. Applications Manager permits 5 different roles to work with the product apart from the default admin role, which is the super user. The different roles are the normal administrator, allowed to perform all default admin activities except the following, like access to query tool, shutting down Application Manager from the product, account policy tab, certain admin permissions under permission tab. We have another administrator called as delegated administrator, whose role is to use to assign limited administrative privileges to the user in your organization who aren't the default administrator. The next role is user, which is a system user will have read-only access to all components of the product. User will not have privilege to access, configure, or edit different components which are configured in Applications Manager. The next role is operator. The system operator have read-only access to only those components of the product for which the default administrator has assigned. The next role is manager. The manager has an integrated high-level view of business infrastructure. Service level agreement can be created and associated with various business application and servers. So this is how the page looks like when you add a new user, and make sure to select required role based on the business need. Apart from this, Application Manager provides option to import user from your Active Directory or LDAP. Let me go ahead and switch to the product and show the various user management that we have. So under admin tab, product settings, user management, let me click on the add new. And in case if you want to import user from the Active Directory, first you need to configure the domain. So let me click on the profiles tab, click add new, and give a profile name here. If I scroll down, I can see the various roles listed out with the drop-down menu. So here we have operator, user, administrator, and manager. So when I select the operator role, you can find that it is listing out the monitor groups that we have created. So which means I can select the group and associate only to the operator that I'm creating. So the monitors that are present inside the group that I've selected will be listed to the operator role, and other monitors that are associated to the monitors which I haven't selected will not be listed out. Now, if I select the role user, the option has gone, which means user will have view-only access to all the components. All right. Similarly, if I select administrator, administrator will have a certain admin permission for all the components that has been added in Applications Manager. But when I select dedicated administrator here, again, I have an option to select the group. So based on the group that I'm selecting for the delegated administrator, they can perform certain tasks. Now let me select the operator role and create the role here. So let me provide the password and create a user, and that's it. So once the role has been created, you will be able to find the monitor groups that are associated to that role. Apart from this, under permission tab, you will be able to find certain operator permissions, which means you can allow operator to perform certain tasks such as manage or unmanage monitors, execute certain action, allow operator to use command shell, and much more. So once based on your business need, you can provide the permission to the operator roles that you are creating. Under account policy, we have option to enforce account logout and enforce strong password rule and enforce single user session. So based on the need, you can select the option of your choice. Now, let me switch back to the presentation. So the next topic in our today's agenda is the admin activities. So where we will touch base few important admin functions available in Applications Manager. So under admin tab, we have various administrative options, and the first one to look at is the downtime scheduler. So a downtime scheduler, in case if you have a planned outage in your environment, you can put those monitors under downtime scheduler, and the alert from that monitor will not raised. Okay, you can create the downtime scheduler based on daily, weekly, or once. You can select the monitors for which you want to create a downtime scheduler, or based on monitor group, you can create the downtime schedule. The next is action and alarm settings. where you can change the default action alarm setting used in Applications Manager. The first option that you see in the screenshot is to enable action when alarms are generated. So you need to make sure that this option is enabled to execute the actions that you have created. The second option that I want to discuss is the repeat action execution. In case if you want to get repeated email alerts for an attribute which is down until it is clear, you can make changes here. And we have talked about the consecutive poll count, which I want to show it in the UI. So let me switch back to the UI. Click on the admin tab, and under alarm and action, we can see the action alarm settings. So in order to reduce the false alert, we have the consecutive poll count as we discussed earlier. Now, when you provide a value here, which means that you are assigning this value for all the monitors that you have added in Applications Manager. Now, there are certain scenarios where you want to specify the consecutive poll count for certain monitors. For this, let me go to a monitor page. For this, let me take the URL monitor as an example. And let me go to the monitor detail page. And on the right top, we have configure alarms. And let me click on the configure availability. Configure action at attribute level and show advanced option. Here it will list out the option to set the consecutive poll count. So when you provide the value here, the value will be applied only to this monitor alone. So let me close this window. And the next question which you might have in your mind is whether, like, how you can provide polls to retry option for an attribute. For that, we need to edit the threshold and provide the value. So let me click on the threshold profile, view threshold profiles, and let me edit a particular threshold, show advanced option, and here you can see the polls to retry option. So when you provide this value, based on the number of times the attribute response time wherever you have applied will check and then raise the alert. Let me switch to the presentation. The next important functionality under admin activities is the performance polling tab that we have, where Application Manager allows you to enable disable data collection for the metrics listed out. Let me switch to the UI and show you that option. Click on the admin tab. Under discovery and data collection, we have performance polling. Now, say for example, for Oracle Monitor, there are various attributes that we are collecting, and you want to customize data collection for certain attributes. For this, click on the optimize data collection, select the monitor type as Oracle, and select the metric name for which you want to customize the polling interval. For this, for example, let's take lock and wait statistics. So here you can select either monitor type, which will get applied to all the Oracle monitors, or you can select the monitors that you have added. So say let me go with the monitor type, and here I have an option if you want to choose never collect data for this metric, or collect data in every polling, which is default, or you can collect the data at customized time interval. So when I click on it, you can select either in minutes or in hours. Similarly, we have for other monitor as well. Say for example, let me click on the MS SQL tab. Here, let me scroll down and I can select the metric, say session, and choose how the data collection should happen, whether it should happen in every poll, every hour, or once in a day. Similarly, under server tab, it is applicable for the server that you have added in Applications Manager. So in case if you want to enable disk IO statistics for Sun Solaris monitor, you need to come here, enable it, and then you need to save the settings. When you scroll down to the bottom, you will find the option to save the settings. Apart from this, we have various other functions where you can enable, say example, under server settings, we have alert if disk is removed. So if you want it, you can enable that option. Let me switch to the presentation. The next is server settings page, which can be used to fine-tune and change default setting used in Applications Manager. And more importantly, if you change the value in any field that has asterisk symbol, you need to restart Applications Manager. So within the UI itself, you can perform the fine-tuning, such as if you want to increase the JVM parameter, you can click on the JVM parameter tab and change the value. In case if you want to increase the thread that Application Manager used to collect the information from the remote servers, you can increase the thread based upon the monitor types that you have added. The next key admin feature that I want to discuss is the template library. So apart from associating threshold and action in bulk using configure alarm template, Application Manager has option to associate services and process in bulk using service process template. You can select the monitor type or monitor group or selected monitors for which this template need to be associated. The next topic is the log rules, where Application Manager has option to capture the event log generated from your Windows server, which has been added in WMI mode, or from the Windows Azure monitor type. Here you can customize the event log rule in such a way that if you want to capture a specific event ID, you can mention it here and create the own log rule. And based upon the captured event ID, alert will be raised. So now the next topic is like how you can take backup and restore what all the methods that we have. So Application Manager, if it has been installed using the Postgres database, we have backup script specific to Postgres database. Similarly, if you want to restore the data in any point of time, you can make use of the restore script. If you have installed Application Manager using the SQL server, you can make use of the Management Studio tool to take the backup. If you have installed Application Manager on a virtual machine, using the VMware management tool, you can take snapshot, and whenever there is a need, you can restore the snapshot. And you can automate the backup script that we have using the Windows Task Scheduler or Linux cron job options. Application Manager provides REST APIs for fetching data from Application Manager. Using this API, Application Manager data can be integrated with any internal portal or third-party system management software. The data can be represented in a single dashboard itself, and by using any XML parser in a scripting language such as Java, C, Perl, Python, you can make HTTPS request in the format recommended in the API. This data can be then inserted into your own database or put it in any other format that you need. Now, in order to use the API, each user should obtain an API key, which is a long text and is unique to their Application Manager account. The API key has to be passed as parameter in every API request made. Not only that, Application Manager will give you the data based upon the APIs that we have. Not only that, you can do certain operations like you can add or edit monitor, you can create, edit downtime scheduler, you can perform certain monitor group operations, and you can create user role under user management and other activities. Application Manager, mobile app, iPhone and Android app allows technician to access the Application Manager performance data from your smartphone. With on-the-go monitoring, you can reduce the time for resolution of a fault occurring in your system, thereby increasing the overall availability of your business services. There are 7 views that are mainly available via mobile app. That is infrastructure view, monitor group view, dashboards, alarms, down monitors, actions and search. Where infrastructure view displays a list of overview of all the monitors associated with a user, classified into various categories based on monitor types. Alarms, this view will list all the critical and warning alerts. Monitor group view list all the configured top level monitor groups. Now by this, we are at the end of the session, and before we jump on to the Q&A, let us do a quick recap of what the topics that we have discussed. So we started with the training with troubleshooting performance metrics and how to create threshold and action, various corrective and notification methods that we have that you can make use of, various reports and how to build dashboards, admin activities that can be performed in Applications Manager.